Guys, welcome to Windsome Cottage Garden. My name is Hannah and I'm so glad that you decided to join me today. This is not part 2 of the video you saw last Saturday. That one is actually going to be the next video you saw, but some things have kind of intervened and that video is not done being filmed. We were not successful in dodging rainstorms. But this is actually being filmed quite close to the time you'll be seeing this. It is November 2nd today, and your eyes do not deceive you. This is snow. I wanted to give you an update on the fence project in our new home garden. You might be able to see behind me that there are fence posts in the ground. We had hoped that this project would be done by now, but the weather, quite frankly, didn't cooperate. In fact, on Halloween, we got 6.5 inches of snow in 2 hours after not having received a frost. So that was a rude awakening for most of our plants. But we have started the project and I want to kind of show you what we've done, how we've done it. And then today we are going to plant some hydrangeas because even though there's snow behind me, the ground isn't solid yet. In fact, we will have some frost, but it's going to be above freezing for the next week or so. So I want to get these in the ground. Before we do that though, and hopefully I have enough daylight to do all this in, let me show you what the fence is looking like a little closer. So we are in the back corner of the home garden. You can see these are the oak leaf hydrangeas we planted. I don't know how long ago that video was. They've probably been in the ground about a month, and I feel like they've grown in that time. This one may have been nibbled by something. I don't remember looking at this, so I don't know if this happened before I planted it, but it's the only one that shows any signs of nibbling. But you might be able to see our glorious fence in the background. My dad is actually installing it as we speak. If you've heard any kind of nailing going on, he's the mastermind of this. But we decided for a couple of reasons to build this fence by picket. This is pressure treated lumber. I am not going to be staining it. I don't necessarily like the green look, though these aren't that bad. But these will silver next year, and I love that look. So we're going to be keeping this natural. Where I am, I did have to pull a permit for this. So if you're thinking about putting up a fence, you should definitely look into your local codes, HOA rules, townships, whatever it may be before you build. Because there's usually regulations on fencing, if you're in any kind of incorporated area. So I did have to get a permit for this. And like most places, it defined how tall it could be, where it could be, and whatnot. So this fence is actually going to be quite large. The back deck is there, and the fence comes off of the house halfway between this random garage door. We will have a gate here eventually, and I was allowed to bring it up to the front face of the house. So that's what I did, but I did want this cross to come in. So these electrical things and whatnot that do need to be checked every once in a while were accessible in the front yard. Since I do have dogs and I can't lay eyes on the gate from where I let them out, I thought it would be better to have this on the outside to decrease the chance of someone opening the gate without me knowing it. But I did still want to have this privacy up here. Because my neighbors do a lot of stuff in their front yard, which is great. So to give them some privacy and me some privacy, it's going to extend a little bit. And I'm looking forward to turning this into like a secret garden-esque area. The other thing that you want to do if you're doing a project like this, which you might be able to see, is you want to make sure that you call whatever body flags utilities in your area. Here in Michigan, that is called Miss Dig. And so they came out and flagged all the utilities. I actually made a map of where they are because I know I'm going to run into them again. So it's helpful for me to know exactly where things are. I could have guessed where the electrical was based roughly on where the boxes was. But for instance, my gas and water are on the other side of the house. And if I'd thought about it critically, I probably could have figured that out. But at first it surprised me. So it's good to know where those kind of things are when you're gardening so you don't run into them at a new property. I took a very brief video last week, but my two brothers, Sean and Ian, and my dad all set these posts last weekend before the snow. We rented a fence post auger because these are 36 inches deep. Our frost line is 42 inches. However, we think that that's more than deep enough to keep it from heaving too much. Really, it should have gone to about 42, 43 inches, but they've 36 pretty far. So it's 36 3 feet down in the ground. They each have a bag of concrete on them. And then afterwards, my dad came in, did these split rails. In my area, the nice side needs to be out, which I think is also like good neighborly etiquette. So this will be the finished side. And so we did the 3 posts. My dad is meticulous, so he's been doing all the critical thinking and watching videos. I wanted to buy the pre-made pickets or the pre-made panels, but this will end up looking much, much nicer. He also built this little jig thing that he uses to line everything up when he puts up new pickets. And he read about it online. To be able to tell that I'm not so helpful when it comes to this because I don't really know what was done. But that's the first half of the fence. Digging the holes took a lot longer than we thought, even with the fence pole digger, as did setting the posts. But the good news is he'll probably get the pickets up between today and tomorrow. Then my youngest brother, Sean, who's been in a number of videos, is coming over, and they're going to do the split rails on the other side of my house. These posts have been set. I don't think they've been backfilled. Yeah, they haven't. So you can kind of see my dad is actually going to come around this weekend and backfill. These have been cemented in, but just to make them a little bit more secure. And it's going to go all the way along here. It is about 3 inches in off of the property line, which we also had surveyed for this purpose. If we see around here, you'll see that it will actually come right up against the house here. We did leave the air conditioners, which are in rough shape. And these are sadly beyond their natural lifespan. So I think they're on the docket in budget to be replaced when they die. But I'm excited about this little area. Originally, I thought the fence would probably just come in here, but this is a bedroom window. And we thought, man, that's just not going to have the nicest view to overlook the air conditioner and a fence. So we decided to put the fence just in the window, just inside the fence. And this is another area I am going to definitely turn. It's going to be very shaded. But what I think I want to do is build up. It'd be so cool to like build up a little raised bed, probably just here like an eyebrow, some nice shade plants, and then the gate here as well. I'll probably stone where I am because it, again, won't get much in the way of sun. And yeah, maybe a little small bed probably up by the house and near the gate. I've got this vision in my head of like a cute little reading nook or maybe a little like bistro set. So there's like this little tucked away secret corner that you can come and relax in away from the rest of the yard. One of the things I loved about my old yard was the surprise like rooms, even in smaller spaces. So in my old yard, there was that back path that you could see there were plants back there, but I don't think you realized until you were there how enclosed it felt. And so I'm looking forward to creating little rooms in this property because even though this is a lot bigger, it's about 2.5 times the size of my old backyard. It's not large, and I still want to create spaces and moments to rest and sit in different vantage points of the yard. And I think something like that would be really cute to look in on from like that bedroom window especially. And I think it'll just make it a lot nicer. So I'm excited about that. It'll be a future year or years project. Not much has changed out here except for the dahlia patch. Before, like I said, guys, before we got the 6.5 inches of snow in 2 hours, we hadn't had a frost. So all of these were looking really good. And I was just waiting for them to die. They are now dying back and they will be dug probably next week and stored. I'm looking forward to that. And then as soon as these guys are kind of dug, these channels I created, I'm going to go through, pick some of the more tender plants and sink them so they're better insulated. The rest of these we're probably going to be gathered maybe around them, probably more likely up against the shed because this is more sheltered. And you'll see there's a giant pile of pine needles I saved from the front yard. We have also some leaves and stuff we've been saving, and I'm just going to kind of embed all of these plants in to give them some extra insulation. That will be a project that you'll see in an upcoming video. It's a little bit in the future, but I'll bring you guys along because it's That second method, actually both these methods I've used before to winter over plants, might not be fully safe if you wintered them over in their pots. The general rule of thumb is if you're wintering over in a pot, you want it to be 2 zones colder than the zone you are. I am a zone 6B here, so that would be a zone 4, which is quite hardy. Not all of these plants are that hardy. So you can increase the likelihood of them surviving by doing some of these methods, which we've done for a number of plants for a number of years. So not all of them are going to make it, but I think a really good chunk of them will. But now that I've kind of given you that update, the one other thing I do want to do in this video is plant these quick Fire Fab Hydrangeas. I bought these hydrangeas to go on the end of the fence up there to kind of increase the hedge beyond the fence. And these are very similar. I don't know what the variety that were in my old house. I'll pop some videos of them in their glory up here. Those I would guess are limelights, like the original limelight. And I mentioned in the past, on my new commute to work, I drive by a number of wholesale growers. And so I see like rows of greenhouses and then also like fields of hydrangea and other shrub and perennials, which is a beautiful drive to work. And there's a couple rows in particular that I'd been admiring, and I knew I wanted a hedge of hydrangeas to get started right away, like I had off my driveway in the city garden, because that was one of the things I was definitely going to miss. And I kept seeing these hydrangeas that looked beautiful. And I could guess based on other things in the field that they're a proven winners grower. So I was looking at Proven Winner's site, and I did narrow it down eventually to, I'm very sure that this is the variety. I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure it was the variety that was in the field. So we went and found 4 of them, and I'm going to go get them planted. And after they're planted, I will give you an update and some stats about them. I don't know if you can tell this, but it's dark. The street lights are on behind me, and you're seeing me in the glow of my garage door light. It's only 6:45, but it is November 2nd, so the days are rapidly getting shorter as we approach the shortest day of the year. But I did get these all planted. These are quick Fire Fab. And I've got this picture here. Hopefully it's not too dirty. But what's really nice about them is they will get 5 to 6 feet wide, but 6 to 8 feet tall. Now, where I'm planting them, while I do believe it gets full sun, it's not going to get a ton of sun in these, like a lot of sun. So I suspect they'll end up on the smaller side of that, or they just won't be they'll be a little slower growing or might not have quite as many blooms. We'll just have to see how they progress as time goes on. But what was really nice is, since I have to end my fence even with my house, this will create a backdrop for me to add a really nice deep bed along the fence all the way up into this tree of my neighbor's, which looks really good. Now, these quick Fire Fabs are one of the earlier bloomers that Proven Winner hydrangeas have. I think they start blooming in like July-ish, and then towards the end of summer they get that deep pink color that's really pretty. They're also incredibly hardy. These are hardy in zones 3 through 8, so I am more than safe here in my zone 6. You probably saw me messing with these a little bit more, and I even whipped out a tape measure, which if you followed my channel for some time, you know I don't really do. But since this is going to be a hedge, I did want to grow them together. I spaced them about 4.5 feet apart, assuming that they're going to get to about 5 feet rather than the 6 feet wide. And then that way they will kind of grow together and form a clump that will provide that glorious backdrop that I'm looking for. And about 2 to 3 feet off the property line and the fence so that my neighbors can appreciate them, but they're not going to get in their way at all. So yeah, let's go take a quick look. If you can see, I know editing makes it easier that I can mess with the light, but it is pretty dark out. I still got to water these in, but you'll see that they ended up in this nice long line all the way up to this tree, and they're gonna just be beautiful right off this fence line and lead you in to this secret garden area that I'll be working on. That's really going to do it for this video. I do have to water them in, and then I'm going to be actually driving up to the cottage tonight. So this weekend I can finish the planting we have to do there before winter truly sets in. If you like this video, please make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. I really appreciate you joining me today, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. Bye-bye.